Yeah, I mean, you see this replayed over and absolutely, I agree with the the analysis of Taylor Sheridan, and hopefully we'll have a chance to talk about that more. But it's um, the identity of Native people are stolen by these colonizers in order um, to wipe to commit genocide against Native nations, at the same time retaining, yeah, both um, the relationship with the land, which of course we know they don't, but also this idea of the rugged frontiersman and the person who can conquer and tame the land. And you see this so much in Taylor Sheridan, but you also see it in um, in Dances with Wolves. You see it in this film because, um, first of all, they never address like what happened to the Mohicans and why these three, like there's even a the script at the beginning of the film that says Chingachgook and something about the three of them are roaming the frontier, and um, you never know. At least in the film, you never know why why these are the last of them, and you see Uncas, who's an interesting character because he does sort of just end up like Romeo. And he doesn't have like he's always in the background, but his character never develops. He's like the brother, the really beautiful long-haired brother who's out there supporting um, Hawkeye and Chingachgook. And then, of course, he's disposable. He dies. He speaks really good English too, but he dies. Um, and then you see Chingachgook is at the end of his life, and as he's standing there, after he kills Magua, he's standing there staring out over this beautiful landscape, and he does that little speech where I am the last of the Mohicans, and you see that character, that identity now belongs to Hawkeye, and
The white guy.
the white guy who is now going to procreate with another white person, and that's where the settler identity comes from. That is the
Yeah.
true American settler identity, is a masculine character who has taken everything from the indigenous people and taken what he wants and absorbed it into his being, and then dragged the white woman along with him. And that's where American settler colonialism is born. And
Yes.
that's what we have to keep seeing over and over again in this country with Taylor Sheridan. And we talked about that one series that he did that was the precursor um, to Yellowstone, the
83.
1883, with
1883.
that woman who becomes native. She gets with the native guy, and so she becomes sort of the embodiment of settler colonialism. And of course, then she has to die too, because she's a woman, and the men are the only ones who are allowed to hold on to that identity. And it's repeated over and over and over again in whatever film or whatever medium you watch. It's that reinforcement of the imaginary Western frontiersman who we know never really existed.
Damn, you just blew my mind, Elena. This is so true. The future child, the future offspring of Hawkeye and Cora is America. That is America, literally, right? Because of this like bullshit mythology around the great American melting pot, the coming together of two cultures, indigenous culture and white European culture, and how that mestizaje or that like mixing is like what America is. Like that's really like that's what that child is. Even though they're both just white, they're both just white people. Hawkeye's character in more so than even the colonists who they're friends with, the family who gets murdered that we were talking about earlier. I was going pretty hard at them, but it's really the character of Hawkeye that epitomizes like that quintessential notion of who and what an American is. And when that's melded with like the whiteness and kind of like the pristineness of Cora and where she comes from, like that is America. And if America is their offspring, then that is also settler colonialism is their offspring manifest. Because we're in a moment where settler colonialism is in a very different phase. It's not totalizing the way that it becomes really as the 19th century approaches. After the US is founded and the Constitution is ratified in the latter part of the 18th century, and then the US just becomes a thing and then just goes full throttle genocide and full throttle settler colonialism, which is basically the story. That's really just what history has been for the last 225 odd years or so, 250 years. And so like we're watching in Last of the Mohicans, like the birth of settler colonialism, you know, that's really represented by the union of Hawkeye and Cora. And it's because like this the American has to think of themselves as partly always the white settler American has to always think of themselves as partly indigenous in order to normalize and naturalize the theft of land and the genocide of indigenous people. That is like baked, that is quintessentially American. And that is why you have everyone and their grandma talking about their great Cherokee grandma, princess grandma. And that is partly that is a function of pretendianism in this contemporary day and age. It is literally just it's just settler colonialism.